Hey, how you doing today? Finally got to make another video, so glad to be able to meet with you today. Today we're going to talk, it's kind of maybe a little bit like a review of some stuff that we did maybe a year and a half or so ago, but taking it to the next level. We're going to do a little wire wrapping today, and it's going to be my way because I'm not a trained wire wrapper, and some of you this might be old hat for, but maybe you're looking to take your wire wrapping up a next notch from just 3 beads on a head pin, turn the wire and loop it. So we're going to go a little bit beyond that and kind of reprise a little bit my idea of the bound beads technique where you wrap the wire around the beads once they get on the stem. But we're going to do it very artfully and less randomly. And I'm going to show you that I found that 20 gauge wire is working for me really good to make wired segments to put into a necklace. So I'm going to show you the kind of wire that I use and how I use it to make more texture with your beads and to make it look very, very interesting. And then if we have time, we're going to deconstruct a necklace so that I can show you how to take those segments and put them in something and make it look interesting and yet still in that easy peasy vein. Fashion-wise, trendy, wearable, and yet something that you can probably make in a half an hour or so and be done, which today with our busy lifestyles, we need to be able to do our crafts and our jewelry design a little bit more quickly. That appeals to a lot of people. The wire wrapping technique may also help you with making the easier style earrings more interesting. So I guess the only next thing to do is to come on over here and I'll show you what I figured out. Okay, so for the wire wrapping, you're going to need a nice pair of round nose pliers. You're going to need a pair of flat nose pliers, a good flush cutter, and optionally a wire burr tool, which we carry at bcboutiques.com. In fact, we carry all these tools there. Even better would be nylon jaw style pliers that are made for wire wrapping, which I don't really have because I don't do this that often, but I found out today as I was preparing for the video and wrapping all morning it would be a really good thing to have, so I'll be looking into that soon. Good, reasonable. We do have some nylon jaw flat nose pliers at BC Boutiques. But anyway, I said we'd talk a little bit about pod charms. This is what I call a pod style pendant. I don't know how well you can see that. And you can see it's simply layer of beads and different bead caps and flower caps like the ones that we carry at BC Boutiques. And let's kind of go over real quick how I made this. This is kind of big for an earring, although you could have it for an earring. I would use this for a pendant. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to make one real simply. You need about 10-12 inches of this craft wire 20 gauge vintage bronze. We carry this at bcboutiques.com. This I found is my fave. Besides our 4-inch brass ox eye pins, those work really nice for making ear wires and also doing some wire wrapping too. And that's because they're about 20 gauge as well. A little bit lighter than that, you can use a 22, but it's just not as sturdy for using in a necklace segment. This is just a little, this is still very malleable, but it's really sturdy, and that's why I like it. So anyway, what you do to make a pod charm is you start out with your round nose wires and you get the very tip. But you know what you might even want to do is take your wire burr tool. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these used, but you can see it's got just this little itty bitty cup on the end. And you just put that on the end of your wire and just twist it back and forth. Twist, twist, twist. And it will kind of blunt the wire and finish it so that you don't have that prickly spot from, I'm so clumsy, probably too much coffee this morning, huh? There you go. See, it's blunted it now and taken the sharp ends off. And when you're going to work with wire, I think it's kind of good to do that just in case you get to the end of the wire, you don't need to cut it off, then you have a nice smooth end. If you have to cut it, you may not be able to use the wire burr again, but just in case, it's just a good thing to do. Don't have to, but good idea. Take your round nose pliers now at the very, very tip of the end of that and just start turning it. And we're going to make a little coil. You can see how that goes around the end of the tip. And try to get yourself about 4 or 5 coils. Okay, I think I'm about done. Now I'm going to stick it in the other end, and I'm going to pull it down while pushing up with the other end of the wire. And that makes me a little twisty turny end. I'm going to fill over that. Yeah, my wire burr tool really helped so that there's not a prickly end there, which is good because that's going to hang off the end, as you can see here. Okay, next thing I'll do is take one of my old, these are vintage Weeping Gold style Hong Kong plastic beads, which I dearly love. My friend Margot Horowitz traded them to me a long time ago, and I love them. I don't know how big is that. I'm going to say about a 12 millimeter bead. Why do I say that? Because most people's index finger from here to about here is about 1 inch, and it takes up about half of that, so I'm going to say 12, 13 millimeter. But I didn't measure it. I might find out much differently once I did. But that's just a little good rule of thumb. If it's about half the size of this part of your index finger, unless you got really, really, really long fingers, it's probably about half an inch. Which 12.5 millimeters is half an inch. Okay, now I'm stringing these on. And you know, this you just play with. These are all caps from BisouBoutiques.com. But if you have a bunch of flower caps, see, like that's a green patina one. You know, just play with it and see, you know, what you like. Here's an acorn cap in the chocolate ox. String that on. Here's one of those cube drawn beads, which are the coolest thing. We have them in a lot of colors at Bisou Boutiques. Put that one on upside down. Make sure it gets through the right hole. Okay, now I'm going to finish it with one of these green-gray vintage coated check pearls. They're glass base. We don't carry these at the site. This is something from one of my old finds. I'm going to straighten that out. But you may have something like that in your own stash. And of course it was crooked on the end, so it resisted me. With the 20 gauge wire, you may find that in some beads it doesn't work. Now this one's got a blemish on it, so that's coming off. I may have done that, as a matter of fact. That's the thing with coated glass pearls. You have to be careful that you don't ding the lacquer finish. Okay, so that's all on there. Now it's time to turn the end. So being very careful, because once again that is a lacquer finish on that pearl. And now I'm going to turn it back this way. Now here's where I need my flat nose pliers. And now I'm going to turn it this way. Now if you really, really want to see a good way to do that, that's pretty good. Get Kate McKinnon's book, The Jewelry Architect, which comes with a DVD in it. Kate is so masterful at this. She makes the best wraps. Now see, I'm taking that around this way, kind of caging it a little bit, and now taking it between the two sections and wrapping. Whoops. But yeah, Kate, get her DVD and just watch it and drink it in. I can't say I've mastered it yet, but I am impressed. She will probably be the best teacher for making a really great loop for you. So anyway, so I'm just wrapping that around till I feel, you know, I've got it about as far as I want it to go. I could go a little further. Let's not waste a wire, huh? Holding it at the end really helps. Okay, now I want to get in here and nip the end as flush as I can, as close as I can. And that sometimes takes a little doing. Okay, so I didn't get to use that all the way out to the end, although I could have. So now I've got a loose end. Now here's where you have to be careful not to ding your pearl, and that's why the nylon jaw would be good. You have to get that end in there, turned in really good and flush. Feel over that and see if you feel any roughness, because you don't want that sticking out and snagging clothing. Okay, that's in pretty good. I may work on that a little bit more later. But now I've got my nice pod charm, and now I can go down here in the bottom and straighten this out a little and twist this a little if I want, and just feel over that, and it's pretty good. They're pretty even. But I would not use these for earrings. You could though, no, nothing wrong with it. I would probably use these for a pendant, and it would really look good. Like for example, here was a section that I did some wrapping on. If I put it with a bunch of sections like this, that would look really, really good. So, anyway, I'm going to show you how to do this now. The next thing we need in order to do this is a piece of wire, about 20 inches long. Okay? And the next thing you're going to do, being careful this doesn't flip up and poke you in the eye, is kind of push it in half. Okay? The next thing you're going to do is right in the middle is make your loop. I told Rob, if I can do this on camera, it's going to be a miracle, because I can totally do this, but doing it on camera is another thing. Okay, wrap it over this way. Now you got it. So I get, as many of these videos as I've made, I still sometimes get a little nervous when I'm trying to show you things like this and my hands shake, because it's very up close and personal. Okay, I've got a nice loop there. Now I'm going to begin wrapping. Straighten this piece out. And we want to wrap this as tight. Don't worry if this is all in the right position here. We'll straighten out later. But wrap this without gouging yourself in the eye. As tight as you can. And I like to go about 4 loops. Now I could have done that better. In fact, I have done it better. So it's not as nice and neat. But the thing is just to wrap it over on itself very neatly. I'm going to stop there for now, just for time's sake. Okay, so now you see I have 2 tails. I have one that's long and one that's not so long. On the not so long one, I'm going to take my vintage pearl, and hopefully this, yes, and string it on there as tightly as I can. And now I will take the wire and wrap it around the pearl, like so. And if it's better for you, could hold it with the flat nose pliers, and that would be good too. Now I'm going to put on another pearl. I need to wrap it up this way. Okay, so it's coming out this side, because I want my loops to go across all on the same side. They don't have to though. I just like them that way. Alright, what's going on? And I'll do it again. The further you go down, you have a little bit more of a handle on it, and you won't have as much trouble getting it to work out. Okay, now I have it over there again. One last pearl. Okay, and we'll do it again. We'll come around and around. Okay, leave that out there. Don't do anything with that. Leave it there for now. Okay, now we're going to turn this end. You know, I do this a bunch of times, but I'm so self-taught with this, and then I have to remember, what did I do so that I can show someone else? So I kind of lack a little bit of confidence when it comes to this. It's not that I don't think I can do it, but can I show you and teach you so that you'll be satisfied? Okay, now I'm going to bring one of my tails, just leave that there, and I'm going to bring it like this. Wrap around and over and around and around and around. And here's where your wire burr tool might serve you. I don't know if I can make this work or not. Do that. And then if I can get this to go all the way around with my fingers, and that's why I like the 20 gauge wire, because you can do, it's very sturdy, and yet it's still malleable enough that you can do a lot of it with your fingers. Yeah, I got that to go right in without having to cut it, and I've got the wire burr tool on it. Okay, now on this one, I need to finish this off. Okay, so I'm going to use my flush cutters and pointing away from myself, get rid of that excess there, and I'm going to do the wire burr tool. I have such a hard time saying that, don't I? Again, and I'm going to see if I can get this around here long enough with my fingers that I don't have to cut it off. You might have to use this, but be careful for your pearl. You just need to get that in there. Okay, it's nice, and I do like a nice loose wrap, and there is a little bit too much eye on this end, so if I wasn't on camera I probably wouldn't have let that happen, but The point is you've got the point, right? That is a bit too big. This is about perfect. The point is getting the point. Not that I'm doing this perfect. And I like loose wraps. I don't like real meticulous, perfect wraps every time, but I would like my eyes to match. See, on this one, the eyes match pretty nicely. Even though this one's going this way and that way. You could try to get them both ways. Okay. Here are some other examples. Here's a long one that I did with the big 12-13 millimeter weeping gold pearls. And then I coiled it here on the end. And just kept wrapping. So I used a great big long piece for that. One like this. And I'm going to start it. I don't know how far I'll get because, you know, with these videos we're a little bit limited as for time. But anyway, I've made my loop. And this time I'm going to try to make it better. See, now it's better. Much better. This one's going to... But you don't want to make it too small because then you won't have enough room to, you know, put all your jumps or connections through. Okay. So I started a little funky on that. So it's still not going to wrap like I'd like it to. See if I get it over here on the white and then you can see better. No. It's not wrapping as nicely as I would like. And once again, it's because I'm doing it in front of you. And you're hanging over my shoulder watching. Figuratively. But you're going to get the point. And that is the point. Okay. So now, I'm going to start on this side this time. As soon as I can find the hole it's hiding from me. Okay, and I'm going to go on this side and loop. Yeah, I gotta really wonder if I'm going to be able to do that little coil doofy thing on the end on this wire and do it on camera to suit me and you both. See, I'm going to go on this side this time, and it's not going to really matter so much because I'll show you why in a minute. Go around twice. One more. Okay. Okay. Now, leave that stick out. Now, I'm going to take this tail, instead of cutting it off or looping it more, I'm going to bring it this way. As tightly as I can. I don't like big spaces up here between, so I might have a little bit, but not too much. Go round and around, go over, round and around, over, around, and around and around, 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 around. And let it spread out over the top of the cap. Leave that hanging there for now. Let's make the other end. To watch doing that you don't get yourself in the eye and that you don't make too big of a hole either now. This may take care of a little bit of this mess up here because now we're going to wrap that around and around and around and around. And I like it loose. I don't need it to match both ends. If you need it to match both ends, that's fine. Then you work on it until you get your technique down so that it does that. You know, I don't need it to. I like very freeform, very random, very loose stuff. So anyway, but anyways, okay, to get the end, you turn it again, like you're making your little pod thing. But once you get to that part, you take your flat nose and you bend it in. And you just keep coiling it, turning it to make a coil. Turn to make a coil. To make a coil. Okay. And then get it pressed down flush against the bead. And I would do that on the other end too. And now you've got a nice little ornament. You don't have anything to clip off. Okay, Rob says that we're getting late on time, but I wanted to show you a few things. You can go big like that. You can do single wraps if you could get your wraps to match. These don't, but you could make ones, maybe two that like that, you'd have easy peasy earring drops, which would be cool, or necklace sections. Here are necklace sections that I made, some with the circles and some with not. They're really cool. So you could just connect. You could even interconnect by, wrapping them inside each other. A lot of people like to do that rather than using the jump rings. So there are some other ideas you could do. Here's a necklace that I made with two of the sections. And to deconstruct it real quick, I'm going to take this off so you can see how I did it. Okay. You can see how fast it is. You just get your, this is an over the head style. It doesn't even have a clasp, so you save money for not having to use a clasp. This is the bead chain, Lincoln bead chain from our website. Oh, I left the thing on there. We have it back in stock. This is kind of hard to get, but we have plenty of it now. So you need a length, it looks like about 15-18 inches. Then you'll hook these on. And then another length doubled on itself, about a foot, maybe 10, 12 inches. Hook that on there, and then just put a little ornament. This is one of the teardrop blanks that we did with the Sizzix dies from Vintage in our chocolate brass, and which we have on the website. Hook that on there, and you have a nice fashion necklace ready to go. How long would that take? Not very long. You could sit and make a whole bunch of these one day and just have them ready to go, and then one day sit down and put them all together in a whole bunch of different earring and necklace designs, and just have a ball. So have fun wire wrapping. If you have questions, you can contact me through the website at bsuboutiques.com. And virtually everything I've used except for these beads and these beads come from our website. The wire, the tools, the bead link chain, the bead caps to make the pod charm. So we hope to see you at bsuboutiques.com, and thank you for watching.